Hello, everyone. Welcome to Yoga with Pat. Um, let's just give it a couple of minutes, or we've already given it minutes, but let's give it a little bit. If you're here, go ahead and grab some pillows, grab some blankets, get yourself nice and comfy on the floor. If you have a yoga mat, that's awesome, especially if you have a wood floor like me. But if not, that's okay. If you're on a rug or something, that's nice, or maybe set out a blanket for yourself. We're not going to be doing any down dogs or anything like that, so no need to have a sticky mat. And then I have some tea. So it's Friday. If you just got out of work, or if you've been busy all day running after kids, or running after one really crazy kid like me, then just take a minute here to unwind, make yourself really comfy. We're not going to be doing a whole lot of moving around or really like building up heat. So it was a warmer day here in Kentucky, but if it's cold where you are, feel free to wear socks, feel free to wear a sweater. We're going to be kind of just hanging out here on the floor. So keep yourself warm. All right. So we're going to get started. Let's go ahead and where should I put this? I don't want to knock it over. Okay, let's go ahead and just settle in, get into our opening meditation. So I like to sit on something, just helps me kind of set the hips forward, keep the spine nice and long. Again, if you have like blankets, also like folded up or rolled up blankets are a nice thing to sit on. If you're a yoga nut and you've got like a bunch of blocks and you've got bolsters, then grab yourself all your stuff. Grab your stuff and feel free to sit up on a block or sit up on one of your bolsters. I'm just on a throw pillow here. So just tilting the hips forward, hands can be on the thighs, palms facing up or down, whatever's more comfortable for you. I'm going to have my palms facing down because it's a little bit more grounding. And then from here, just growing a little bit taller, relaxing the shoulders, maybe lowering your gaze or just casting your gaze a few feet in front of you. Take a couple of deep, filling belly breaths. So just filling the belly. Inhale. And then maybe with the mouth open, exhale. And again, inhaling through the nose, filling the belly, and then a nice long sigh to let it all out. One more time. Inhale, fill the belly. Exhale through the mouth, sigh it out. Beautiful. And then just begin to settle, maybe feeling your weight settling into the sit bones. Maybe sensing your ankles if you're sitting in a cross-legged position, sensing your ankles pressing on the floor, on the mat. And then begin to bring your awareness around you, maybe sensing the temperature of the air in your room, and the touch of your clothes on your skin. And just here, starting our practice of tapping into the sensations that are happening moment to moment. Just a few more breaths here, just going inward and setting this time aside for our practice today. Awesome. Now from here, just slowly let the light into your eyes. No too sudden movements, blinking the eyes open and casting the gaze in front of you. Just a nice, soft, panoramic sort of gaze. Notice the space between your eyebrows and see if you can soften that even more. Notice if you tend to kind of scrunch the brows. Just make an intention to make the brows soft, make the cheeks soft. Nice. All right, let's move into our first posture. So we're just going to start out with a really common posture, but let's make it comfy, okay? So here, if you have a bolster, this is a great time to use your bolster. We're going to go into a supported child's pose. I'm going to demonstrate with some blankets. So I just have some regular travel blankets here, and I'm just going to place them in front of me. They're rolled up, and then maybe a little pillow. And that's it, really, nothing fancy. So from here, let's just go over the pillow now in a tabletop position just to set ourselves up for child's pose. So take the knees out wide. You're going to want them as wide as your mat. Bring the big toes together. And then from here, send the hips back. And then you might have to move your supports. Nestle that under yourself. And then just allow your chest to slowly find the top of your bolster, your pillow and blanket set up, and just let yourself melt. Mic pack. There we go. Just let yourself melt. And take a couple of breaths here. We're just warming up for the practice, warming the hips up. I don't know about you, but if you've been standing all day, my hips tend to get really stiff here. My lower back gets super stiff and achy. So sometimes I really just need to ease into the practice. And child's pose really works for me. It doesn't work for anybody, so no worries. Just going to take another couple of breaths here. Now, slowly coming back up. Let's remove the supports now. And we're going to add a little bit of yang to our yin. And that's because we're, in this new moon, you might be feeling really heavy. There's no yang in the sky. The full moon or just having the light in the sky in general adds that sort of sense of energy. So it being a new moon, now we're starting a new cycle. You may feel a little depleted, a little heavy, and that's totally natural. Remembering this isn't any sort of magical talk or anything. We're physical beings living on earth. We are absolutely affected by anything going on within the planets or within planet earth. And the moon definitely has an influence on planet earth, so of course it would have an influence on us. So if you're feeling that, you're in good company. So from here, let's go back into child's pose momentarily without the support. So knees as wide as your mat or as wide as your hips, big toes together. Send the hips back. Take an exhale here. And then inhale, slowly come up. Bring the knees back under the body. And then we're going to go onto the belly. So pull the elbows in. Come on to the belly. Exhale here, and then inhale, lift the chest, peel the chest off of the mat, cobra pose. Exhale, coming back down as we move back into child's pose. So long exhale. And then inhaling, we're going to come back up, bring the knees under, belly comes down to the mat. Bring your head all the way down to the mat. And then inhale, peel the chest up, cobra. One more time, just like that. So coming back up, inhaling, bringing the knees wide, big toes together. Exhale, come back into child's pose. And then inhaling on the way up, knees under the hips, belly down to the mat, lowering all the way down to the mat. Pull the elbows in, peel the chest off the mat, cobra. And then one more time into child's pose. tabletop. Exhale back into child's pose. Take a couple of breaths here. So, again, we're just kind of trying to introduce a little movement into the body, kind of building up some energy or maybe expending some stagnant energy. So, I'm thinking about the yin yang symbol, the yin yang symbol, or the Tai Chi symbol. Imagine that black fish and the white fish, right? They're kind of swimming around each other. But then within each one of those shapes, we have the little circle, which shows us the opposite, right? The opposite energy within that energy. So they really feed into each other. One cannot exist without the other. A couple more breaths. Now we're gonna slowly come up and we're gonna move into a back bend. So knees are gonna be under. We're gonna bring the belly all the way down to the mat. And then come into Sphinx pose here. So your elbows are going to be under your shoulders, but if that's too much to begin with, no problem. Just bring the elbows more forward of the shoulders. You might bring the arms across each other so that the ribs are kind of settling onto the mat. The belly is soft, settling onto the mat. And then here, just breathing, just allowing the lower back to settle. I'm going to set our time here. I'm going to stay here for a couple of minutes. So just tap in. We did a little bit of moving. So sense, or maybe see if you can sense the energy in the body quieting down. And then as we stay in this pose, as we stay in the Sphinx, you may find that the belly begins to soften. The lower back maybe feels a little bit, a little bit more accepting of the idea. So you might want to walk the elbows in towards the shoulders. But again, if you're feeling this pose with the elbows in front, we're all different. Our, spines are all made different. We all do different things, within our individual movement practices. So you may feel differently than me and you may be happy with your elbows forward. So if you are, stay there. That's awesome. We want to be feeling something in the pose. We don't have any end range of motion to get to. We just want to feel parts of the body. We target certain areas with certain poses. And basically, if you're feeling it, you're doing it. And just continue to breathe. And just remembering those big belly breaths we took at the beginning. Maybe going back to those belly breaths and sensing how each breath, as you inhale and exhale, how it changes the pose, or if it does change the sensations that you're feeling in the pose. We're going to take 3 more breaths here. And then after that third cycle of breath, whatever your third cycle of breath is, you may have longer breaths, you may have shorter breaths. And begin to walk the elbows out in front. So releasing the back bend, and then allow your head to rest onto your arms. Notice when you come out of the back bend what your back feels like now. Notice any sensations that might be moving around. Awesome. And now from here, we're going to come up. So bring your hands outside of the chest and come back to tabletop. We're going to sit on the heels now. So this isn't great for everybody. So just try Thunderbolt Pose, right? Or Saddle, as it's called in Yin. We're just going to sit on the heels. If this is painful in the knees, if you have a block or maybe some books or even I don't know, like anything that would fit in between your feet, if you again that pillow is going to be great for this too. So you can take the pillow and kind of put it on top of the heels and then sit down on the pillow. Seated saddle pose. We can turn this also into a little back bend. Now, if this is enough for you, if you're feeling this in the thighs, then stay here. Perfect. What we're looking for is some stress on top of the legs, right? We may also be getting some nice stress along the front of the ankles. If this is easy for you, if you're like, oh, I'm fine here, I could stay here, I could do a whole meditation right here. Cool. Let's keep going. Let's find that stress, right? So again, if you're feeling it, no problem. So we're going to take this back. So if you can sit in between the heels, if you're very internally rotated and pretty open in the thighs, cool. From here, we're going to take, I'm just going to move a little bit forward. From here, we're going to take the hands behind and then just lean back on the hands. So again, if you're feeling a little stretch in the front of the legs, cool. If not, we can turn this into more of a back bend. So if you're here, just lift the chest, maybe turning the hands out, lock the elbows, and relax. Maybe tuck the chin, or if you want a nice stress in the front of the neck, let the head rest on the shoulders. But if you get dizzy or nauseous here, just best to bring the head back up. If you're looking for a little bit more, we're going to go into the lying version of the saddle. So just walking the hands back and then coming onto the back. Now, what to do with the legs once we're down here? Again, if you are in one of the first couple of variations and you're feeling a stretch in front of your legs, stay there. You do not have to go here. So from here, if you're here, congratulations. We're gonna see how happy you are about that when it comes time to get back up. But the knees can be wide if it's more comfortable for you, and you're still feeling that stress in the front of the legs. To have the knees a little bit wide, awesome. Just keep the heels close to the hips, right? Just for the knees' sake. Just keeping the heels close to the hips. But if the knees come out wide, awesome. If you prefer to have the knees together, that's cool too. We're just going to be here for a few more breaths. So if you've gotten here and you're like, I don't think this was such a good idea, no worries. 2 more breaths, or come out of it. You can always roll to the side, come out. Just a few more breaths. And just, noticing. I mean, in a pose like this, it's the anchors of sensation are pretty obvious. And so we're in a mild back bend. We're going to go back into another one. So first, time to come out of this. So maybe you can bring your elbows underneath and you can push into the elbows and kind of, almost like you need a crane to pull yourself up here. Or if you can, just take the knee or the legs from underneath of each other, or even so, roll to the side, right? And then come up. So however, it's not going to be pretty, right? However you can get out of this, get out of it. And then we're going to go back to Sphinx. So back to Sphinx, and you'll see why we went through all of that. So we're just going to settle into the Sphinx again, just making yourself comfortable, letting the belly relax here. I wanted to make this, since we're all at home, I wanted to use as little props as possible in our practice today. So just keeping it really simple. Breathing, letting the back just get used to the idea again. And we're not trying to force these back bends. We're not trying to be forceful about anything. Let the belly be soft. Let the shoulders do what the shoulders are going to do. And then once the back has gotten used to this, you might be looking for a little bit more. So again, if you're feeling this in the lower back or in the front of the belly, you're feeling a little stress in the front of the belly, cool. We don't want to feel any sensations that are kind of jarring, that quicken the breath or make it hard to breathe. So if you notice that it's hard to breathe for you in any of these poses, best to back off and take one of the lighter variations, because the most important thing when we're practicing yin is to be able to stay in the pose for time. So we want to be able to stay for a while. We want to be able to breathe while we're in the poses, very important. And we want to have a sense of calm and surrender. So in order to have that calm and surrender, we don't want to be experiencing any sensations of pain, anything that's going to stimulate the nervous system. So yeah, this is going to be a little different from, the other yoga practices, other yoga modalities. The yin yoga is more passive, and we play our edge in yin yoga. So it means we don't go to our ultimate edge. We don't want to go to our farthest range of flexibility. We want to stay within something that's doable. So again, if you're not feeling much here, come on to the hands. So we're just going to kind of like push up into almost like a cobra. And then from here, we're going to turn the fingers out. So resting on the palms, turn the fingers out, and then see if you can straighten the arms and then lock the arms in place, relax the belly, and then kind of let the chest lift out. If the legs move apart, no problem. This is called seal. So seal, the shoulder blades might be coming up. Again, we're not concerned with aesthetics in yin yoga. We're concerned with functionality. So it's okay for the shoulders to move up a little bit. Notice what's going on with the neck. So this is yin. We want to surrender and be relaxed. If you'd like the head to rest on the shoulders, awesome. But again, if you feel nauseous or any tingling or numbness, we don't want to be nauseous seals. We want to be just seals, just happy seals to be here. And we're just going to be here for another 3 breaths. Awesome. So now coming out of the seal, bending the elbows, bringing the belly back down to the mat. Let's walk the hands forward. And then from here, just relax the head onto the arms. We did a pretty strong back bend yin practice today. So let the spine resettle, recalibrate before making any sudden movements. And just sensing what it feels like to come out of a back bend like that. Now, work our way back out of this. Oh, let's actually release that hip. I got lost. I got lost in yin mode. I'm at my house. It's hard to stay on track. Let's pull that right knee out. So we're making kind of like an L with the knee. Kind of like a half frog. Feels really nice on the inner thigh. And just let the lower back kind of feel that sense of release. And then bringing that leg in, do the other leg, bring the opposite leg in, or yeah, bend the opposite knee, turning it out, kind of like a half frog. And again, just breathing. And then I'm pulling that leg in. And slowly come up. And let's just briefly to counter that, go back into a child's pose. So knees as wide as the mat. Feel free, if you still have those supports, feel free to bring those along with you. And then settle onto the supports. And notice that rebound, that sense of relief. Good stuff. Now we'll work our way up. Now moving into that forward fold portion. So have your blankets handy if you have them. For this next pose, I like to sit on something. So I'm going to take, now you can sit long. If you're on a mat, you can sit long ways on your mat so that you're facing the long ways, but I want to face the camera. Round yoga mat. It's that's on my Christmas list. Round yoga mat. So sitting on the pillow. Sitting on the pillow. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together. We're going to go into butterfly, but this is not Baddha Konasana, right? This is not where we pull the heels in and we take the knees down, right? Very young, taking the chest up. We're not doing that. We're going to take the feet out pretty far. And it's because this is a nice flexion for the lower back. It just feels really good when we take the feet a little bit more forward. So butterfly pose. Now, a couple of caveats. You might feel a little discomfort in your knees from them just hanging out here, especially if the inner thighs are a little bit tight. That's totally cool. If you do feel discomfort, support your knees. And what do I say support your knees? There's nothing wrong with you. You're a good person. There's nothing wrong with you. When the bones are supported, when we support the bones, the muscles can relax. They get that signal that, oh, it's okay. I'm not going to go too far. I'm not going to go out of my range of motion. So the muscles are allowed in that case to turn off. So support yourself. Even if it doesn't hurt, it actually feels really nice to have a little bit of support under the legs. So supporting the legs, I'm nice and comfy, seated on my pillow. I'm going to begin to come forward. So just come to where you stop. So when you just fall forward, you stop. That's it. Lovely. And we're just here. We're here and I'm sure you can pull yourself more into the forward fold. I believe you and I love you. But that's not this. So even though maybe we could bring ourselves further, let's let the yin do the work. If you have a block or you have another pillow, take that, put it on top of your feet, and then let your head rest. If the spine rounds, fine. Just let yourself be here and see if you can scan your body for any place where you might be holding on to tension or you might be trying to go farther into the pose, and release it and just soften. I like it's winter, so it's a little harder to imagine, but I like to the analogy of sort of melting butter on the countertop. Just soft and melting like silly putty. Remember silly putty? Like silly putty sitting on the table. You've made it into a little ball. And then you put it down on your table, on the countertop. And then you imagine the silly putty, how it starts to flatten, starts to grow around in the sides, become a flat circle. Or it's winter, a melting snowman. Just be and surrender. Let your branch arms just kind of rest onto the ground. Your carrot nose falls off your face. This is a terrible analogy. That's okay. Just a few more breaths here. This is my YouTube channel. I do what I want. Welcome to Yoga with Pat. All right, another couple of breaths. Beautiful. From here, we're just going to slowly roll up. Just letting the hands come with you. Slowly coming up. And just sense that. Notice any sensations as you come out of that pose. Any feelings maybe around the spine, around the legs. What comes up for you? Awesome. All right, so let's go into another pose. So our next pose here is going to be straddle straddle pose. So the knees have been bent. We did a lot of child's pose, a couple of things like that. So it might be nice to have the legs straight again. So let's take the legs out, and we want the feet to be pretty wide. So if we're sitting on something awesome, if this if the hamstrings are tight, and I have pretty tight hamstrings, but that's for a yoga teacher, so like totally okay if your hamstrings are super tight. Trust me, it's my struggle too. So we can bend that knee and then maybe put, a support under the knee and see if that makes it a little bit more comfortable for you. If you have 2 blankets, awesome, put them under both knees. But see if that makes it easier for you to tilt the pelvis forward, right? We're not gonna, this isn't Upavishta Konasana. This is straddle. So we're not going to force ourselves forward, but if this makes it easier for you to bring the chest forward, then cool. Just support the knees. You're at home. You don't need to prove anything to anybody. So now with the knee supported, we're going to fold over the right leg. We're just going to start with the right leg. So if you have blocks, those could be nice. If not, just have your hands somewhere to support yourself. So turn to that right leg, relax those toes, and maybe we're here. Maybe we can fold over. Now I told you I have tight hamstrings. So if you can lay on that leg, go for it. Do it. Do you, boo-boo. But if not, then, just find a place where you can support yourself, where you can be somewhere where you feel some sensation. There may be some sensation behind the leg. Again, we're forward folding over a leg, so you might be feeling something in your hamstrings. You may feel something in the connective tissue. Again, we're not, we deal with connective tissue in yin yoga, but we don't want anything that feels painful. So anything stabbing, anything electrical, anything burning, we don't want any of those sensations. Time is the magic ingredient. So go to where you feel something in the leg that you're folding over. Maybe you feel something in the back. Maybe you feel something in the hips. Wherever you feel the thing, go to there and stay still. Become still. I'm going to set our timer so that we're doing the same amount of time on both sides. Now we're here. As you breathe, as needed to move more forward. You may be invited to fold more over the leg. Again, support yourself. See how supporting your body allows the body to open. So if you are invited to move forward or move deeper, you can, always move your supports, readjust, find another place to be. And you're witnessing this in real time. My hamstrings were not giving before, and now we have some space. Just a little softening, a little allowing, and a little accepting. That's an important one. Just accepting where we are and what our body is willing to do at the moment. And being allowing of that and also loving that. It's your body. If you're practicing with me right now, if you're on the floor with me, you're in good shape. All right. There's a lot of people that can't get on the floor. So love your body. Love your body. And maybe I'll have a practice, a chair yin practice coming up soon. But yeah, love what your body is allowing you to do right now. Even if you're tired, even if you're achy, even if you feel stiff, that's okay. I mean, it's, bodies, it's what they do. We get tired. Some days we feel super energetic. We feel, I don't know. Some days I feel like I can vinyasa through a handstand, right? I can't, but sometimes I feel that way. But yeah, just, honor what your body is doing today and try and let go of any assumptions or any judgments about what you're able or not able to do right now. A few more breaths. Let's call it 2 more cycles of breath. Now we'll push into the hands, slowly come up. Come back to center. And just feel what you feel right now. Just feel what it feels like to come out of the pose. If you want to kind of circle the ankles, pull the toes in, kind of activate the legs a little bit. You could do that. You could also take a counter pose. For these sort of back of the leg targeted poses, reverse tabletop is really great. So pressing the feet into the floor, hands are behind you, fingers are towards you. Inhale, lift the hips up, take a nice breath, let the head fall back, don't hit a planter. And then let the hips settle back down to your support or your mat. And then from here, I'm just like picking the lint off. I don't think that you're going to be able to see it with this camera, but I was picking the lint off my pants. So we're going to bring the legs wide again. Bring the feet wide. Set yourself up. And now we're going to go to the other side. So if you have blocks, if you don't have blocks, get blocks. Get blocks. I should have posted this before Black Friday so you could have gotten some deals, but they're magic. All right, and then from here, turning to face the left leg, maybe we set our blocks, and then we let the arms rest on the blocks. Just relax and see where your body takes you now. Maybe one side is different than the other. That's totally normal. Each of my sides are wildly different, and I'll even change sides sometimes. Sometimes the left hamstrings are more open. Sometimes it's the right hamstrings. It'll be that way for like 6 months and then switch over. Now, and let's make sure I talked a lot on the other side. So let's make sure we're doing the same amount of time on this side. And again, just let yourself melt. Not trying to pull yourself further, right? We could pull the toe in, lift the chest, breathe, inhale, lift, exhale, fold. Don't do that. This is yin. We're relaxing. Just, and I teach that other stuff too. I teach that other stuff and more vinyasa based classes, hot classes, more yang style classes where we do want to be targeting the muscles. Even though the muscles are getting stress in yin, it's not so much what we're targeting in a yin based class. It's gentle. It's gentle, and we're applying gentle stress to the connective tissues, to the bones. And then also, it's an opportunity for us to soften and tune more in. And I'm talking a lot, and it's mostly to distract you. um, but yeah, a yin practice can be a really quiet practice where we tune into what's going on internally, what's going on in our minds, with our emotions. Um, what it serves us, for day to day, just being able to have that time of quiet, where we notice what we're feeling inside, which doesn't really happen as we're going through our day, checking our phone, um, you know, in traffic, distracted at work. So using this time, your yoga practice or your yin yoga practice, to tune in. What am I feeling behind my legs? What am I feeling in the back? And maybe what do those sensations bring up emotionally or mentally? Remembering, hopefully you remembered, if the body invites you to go further, go further. Again, yin yoga, okay to round the spine. I am a spine rounder, and I fight it in my other yoga practices, but in this practice, I just let her go. One more cycle of breath. And then we're going to take the hands on either side of the leg, slowly push yourself up. Awesome. And you guessed it, we're going down the middle. So if you have blocks, use them. If you have a bolster, use it. I'm going to place the blocks, and you can use a stack of pillows. Just I don't have anything handy right now. I could have brought other stuff from, like a couch cushion or whatever. If you have something to place in front of you, place it in front of you like a little table for you to put your put your elbows on or your shoulders on. And then just settle into this first level of forward fold. If you're very open in the back of the legs, and I see it all the time in class, and it's somebody just lays right on their chest. Looks so nice. Just lays right on their chest on the floor. Oh, I wish in my wildest dreams. If that's you, girl, boy, do it. All right, do it. I'm here. This is where I'm at. I'm just gonna breathe. Soften those toes. Notice where you feel the stress. Notice what that's bringing up for you. If you want to fold farther, if you're trying to fold farther, notice that, examine that. That's okay. But remember what our intention is with this practice. So we're not trying to judge ourselves. We're not, we're not here to scold ourselves. See if you can just allow yourself to be. Just be how you are right now. Accept it. Accept it with loving kindness. That's it. It's easy. If it sounds mushy, I'm sorry. I'm mushy, okay? I'm a mushy person. Just let yourself be. A few more breaths here. Let's just take 3 really long filling breaths. Inhale, again, bringing that into the belly, expanding through the belly. And then exhale, letting it go. If the body invites you to move a little further for the last couple of breaths, go ahead. Don't fight it. Another cycle of breath. Inhale, fill the belly. Awesome. Let's push into the hands. So here, just, sit, let yourself be, let yourself feel the rebound, and I'll keep talking. So in these sets of forward folds, we really worked that inner set of hamstrings. So adductors and the hamstrings that run more medially on the legs. So let's work on that. We're going to bring the legs together from here. So because we're sitting here, you can do a counter pose if you like. So I invite you to do a tabletop or a windshield wipers if it's really calling for you, or just move right into the caterpillar. So for caterpillar, I'm going to bring the knees together and have the blanket rolled up under my knees. Again, I feel just some discomfort on the outer knees. Might be an old injury or something like that. I don't know what it is, but I just really like to support my knees in these poses. But if your legs can go flat onto, the floor, awesome. Do it, especially if you're not sitting on anything and you're comfortable with having the legs flat. Go for it. So I'm just going to have this rolled up blanket under my knees. And then from here, I'm just going to, again, just let myself come forward until I stop. So this is not Paschimottanasana. This is caterpillar. So in Paschimottanasana, we pull the toes in, we lift the chest, right? We maybe grab onto the toes and right? And or through the nose, ujjayi breathing. This is not Paschimottanasana. This is caterpillar. Let yourself come forward. Maybe the hands find the blocks. Maybe the head relaxes. And again, we just breathe. Notice where you feel the stress. If the back rounds, as if it's contraindicated by your doctor, if you are not supposed to be taking your spine into flexion, then best to lay flat on the mat and come into a legs up the wall. So just briefly, if you're in caterpillar and you're okay for flexing the spine, stay. If you want to try this, come along with me. So we're just laying flat on the back, and then we're taking the legs up. So this is legs up the wall. And if you're at home, if you have a spare wall that you can put your legs on, awesome, do that. So this is a great substitute for all of our rounding postures. But if you've come this far with me, you're probably allowed to flex your spine. So coming back to caterpillar, we're going to end our little forward fold practice with the caterpillar. So another couple of minutes here. And just to really ground into our practice and to ground into this new moon energy. And just let yourself soften. Notice where you feel the stress. We don't want to be feeling any pain around the knees. So again, if you feel that support the knees. If that doesn't relieve the pain, then come a little bit out of the pose or move into the other variation that I showed you, into caterpillar or legs up the wall. Viparita Karini. This really, yin yoga is a very quiet practice. For the next minute and a half, I'm going to be really quiet. Allow yourself to soften, notice, and follow the breath. And come out of the pose if the sensations become too strong. Now slowly roll up. Notice what you're feeling. Maybe circling the ankles here. Maybe massaging the legs. We're going to work our way to laying on the mat. So if you want to take a counter pose here, we could do reverse tabletop. So I'll remind you, where we take the feet flat on the floor, hands are pressing onto behind you onto the mat or however you're positioned, and then take the hips up. Let the head fall back. And then coming back down. Another nice one is windshield wipers. So we can take the knees from side to side. It's a nice one too, and a nice preparation for our next pose. So we're going to start to wind down here if you haven't already felt windy downy. So I made that word up. It's copywritten. Don't steal it. Windy downy. I'm going to lay on the back. So moving here into a nice 2 knee twist. Keep it really simple for our new moon practice today. Just finding little bits and pieces of paper. So laying down on the mat, let's give yourself a second here. Let the spine be neutral. Let the breath become soft. Notice what your back feels like after doing all those forward folds. And then we're going to bring one knee into the chest. Invite the other knee to join, maybe rocking back and forth here. And if you're a happy babyer, go for it. Or maybe if you just want to try it out, or you're like, I don't know, today am I a happy baby or no? Let's take the hands behind the legs and pull the knees in towards the chest, and then take the knees a little bit wide and pull them in. Now, if that causes any pinching in between, the hip here and the leg, don't worry about it. Just stay here. Stay to where it doesn't hurt. So if hugging the knees in is fine, stay there. If you just want to be here and wait for me to be done, cool. So from there, if you're a happy babyer, maybe you take the insides of the feet. And again, just pulling down on the insides of the feet, bringing, the knees maybe closer towards the mat. They don't have to touch the mat. I don't think mine ever will. That's okay. Just be here. And then smile, right? Happy baby, Ananda Balasana. It's in the name. So you have to smile. And now undoing all of that, enough of that. Let's work into this pose. Bring the feet momentarily down towards the mat. If you're there, hi. Here we are. We're back. So we're going to take the hips to the right side, whichever side. Just make sure you're doing the other side. So to the right side, just so you can see. So I'm taking my hips all the way to the right side. And then from there, I'm going to roll to face the left side. So I'm going to roll all the way to the left side. Hey. And then from here, I'm going to bring the shoulders to find the mat. And then maybe the shoulders float. Maybe I take one of my handy dandy blankets and again, support your body so that the muscles can relax. And then I kind of just tuck that under my shoulder. And here we are. We're in two knee twists. The left hand can maybe hold on to the knees, holding them down. Maybe the right hand rests on the belly, or you can have it out like a cactus, a little bonus shoulder opener. So whatever feels good for you here in this moment. Just working the spine in a direction that we haven't very much worked it in yet. So just taking it into the twist. We did it a little bit when we folded over the one leg, but this is a true twist right here. Take 3 more breaths here. Close our practice. Relax the breath. Relax the body. Awesome. So now let's hug those knees in. Come back to center and giving your spine a second to just kind of be in that neutral, untwisted position. So if you just want to have the feet down on the mat, cool, be here. If you love to hug the knees in, if that gives your, lower back a nice release, that feels good for you and is not, bad for your spine in any way, again, contraindicated by your doctor, you're not supposed to be in flexion, then don't do that. Just keep the feet flat. But if that is okay for you, then just rocking back and forth. Giving the spine a minute. And then with the feet flat, if you moved the hips over, we're going to settle ourselves back to midpoint. And then let's walk the hips to the the left side this time. So picking up the hips, taking them to the left side. And then from here, rolling over. So rolling over, letting the head rest on the arm for a second. And then from here, we're going to take the shoulders to find the mat. And if the shoulders are floating, support the shoulders. You can take the right hand, hold the knees down, let the shoulder find the floor, and then maybe taking that arm out into cactus if that works for you. And if that causes any tingling or any numbness, just take the hand back to the belly or back to the ribs. And then again, be here. You can bring the twist also into the neck by turning the other way. The neck is part of the spine. But any tingling, numbness, nausea, don't do it. And then we're going to take 3 long breaths here. Beautiful. So now unwinding, maybe bringing the shoulders back to stack, and then coming back onto the back, either hugging in the knees or windshield wipers is great. So you can recenter the hips, take the feet as wide as the mat, maybe bring the knees back and forth. And just releasing the body. And now, if you want to end, if you're watching this later on, if it's bedtime and you want to bring your laptop or your phone with you into the bedroom and end your shavasana in the bed, do it. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to do that. If you're going to do shavasana on your mat right where you are, then begin to make the body, lost my mic. Begin to, I hope that wasn't off the whole time. Begin to make, here we go. Find the body even. So if that means finding a little support for the back of the head with a blanket, you can do that, or just have the head flat on the mat. Finding both sides of the body are even. Maybe a little preemptive stretch, pointing through the toes, stretching through the fingers. If you're in bed, finding yourself nice and supported and even on the back. Hands can be at your sides, palms facing up. Begin to sense your body. And at first, again, coming back to your atmosphere, your surroundings. Noticing the temperature of the air as it touches your skin. Noticing the touch of your clothes on your body. Maybe here bringing your attention to your heels. Noticing your heels pressing into the mat. Let the feet become soft. Release any tension in the toes, in the arches of the foot. Release any tension in the legs. Allow the feet and the legs to fall out to the sides or to fall in. However your legs naturally go when the body's relaxed. Let the toes turn that way. And bringing your attention here to the hips, into the belly. Let the hips become heavy. Sense as they press into the floor. Sense that sensation of the back side of your body pressing into the floor. Allow the belly to become soft. Notice the rise and the fall of the belly as you breathe. Here, we're not trying to control the breath. Just let the breath be natural. Let the breath do what it does. And bringing our awareness into the heart space, the entire circumference of the rib cage. Noticing how when we breathe, the back of the ribs press into the mat, into the mattress. Noticing the rise of the front of the ribs as we breathe in. And then as we exhale, noticing how the belly sinks in, even into the ribs. And then bringing here your attention to the shoulders. And set in an intention for the shoulders to relax. Let the shoulders be soft. Nothing else to hold. Nothing else to guard from. Just you in your space. Again, let the shoulders relax. Let them be soft and heavy. And then bring your awareness to your face. Noticing and sensing all the muscles in the face. We have muscles in the face, yes. They make our expressions. They allow us to smile, even to frown and to grimace. So notice these muscles and allow them to relax. Let the brow soften, the cheeks be soft. Maybe the teeth are slightly separated here. Let the brows just melt down the sides of your face towards your ears. And let the forehead become smooth, allowing even the scalp to relax. And then sensing how your head is supported by your pillow, by your blanket, by the floor beneath you. You are supported and held. Nothing else to do. Nowhere to be. Nothing to achieve. Just the present moment. Just this. Just now. If you're already in bed, then stay. Rest. Your practice is done now. Your day is done. And if you're still on your mat, And slowly begin to awaken the body by wiggling the fingers and the toes, circling the wrists and the ankles. And then maybe here, if you have the space, taking the arms overhead, interlacing the fingers and stretching through the arms, pointing through the toes. Bring the hands back down to the sides. And then invite one knee into the heart and then the other. Give yourself a hug or do windshield wipers. And preparing the body now for movement for the remainder of your evening to enjoy this new moon day. And feel free to rock over to one side and push yourself back up, or if you'd like a longer shavasana or seated meditation, stay. And from here, let's bring our hands to heart center if you're ready to move on with your evening. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, whether you're doing it live or whether you're going to watch this later and enjoy it later. Thank you so much. Subscribe to my channel if you liked this, if you want more. And if you're in Kentucky, come see me at Karma Yoga and Hot Yoga Studio. We'd love to see you. It's in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. All right. So thank you so much. Namaste.